Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Ruach HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honor, salutations, and blessings to the men that are preaching the gospel of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai in all sincerity, diligence, and truth. And peace, grace, and blessings be upon the house of David, which is the elect men, women, and children. So this is coming from the New York Post. As you see on the screen, it says 38-year-old woman decides she wants a baby, claims she's been betrayed by feminism. And this has been a common growing theme, specifically, here in Babylon the Great, okay, but, throughout the world, in these westernized civilizations, all right, or if we can call them civilizations, where the women of this age have been realizing that they've been duped, right? They have come to the realization that the lifestyle which they thought was supposed to be liberating, was supposed to be empowering, in all actuality is something that is devastating, right? And I did a video maybe I think last week on how women of this age, of this generation, are more, dealing with more depression, anxiety, mental health issues than any other women of any other period of generations before them. And the biggest culprit is this ideology of feminism, all right, or being a feminist, all right, which basically goes into, really, it was a psyop to destroy the Israelite households, okay? You so-called blacks and Latinos, Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners, but in order for, and that's who Esau really targeted, but in order for it to be something that could be generally accepted, he had to put it throughout, his whole kingdom, which what ended up happening? It ended up causing a generation of just a destroyed mindset, in the dynamic of the relation between men and women, which that dynamic is not something that man created. It's not something that man came up with on how it's supposed to be. This was something that was ordained from the heavens, okay? It was ordained before man was even put on the earth, the dynamic between a man and a woman, okay? And just to get a quick precept, in the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 15, so like in verse 16, it says, "And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over you." Okay? And it's funny that in NLT, I never read this in NLT, and that I'm gonna read it, and it really explains the so-called black woman, and not just the black woman, but the Israelite woman in general. It explains their mindset, pinpoint. It says, "Then he said unto the woman, I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy, and in pain you will give birth. You will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. And though you will have desire for your husband, he will rule over you." So, it's just the way that they worded that, or they translated it. It's interesting. But nevertheless, this was something that the Lord ordered, right? And even in, which we'll get into the scripture, in the book of Tobit, it tells you how the Lord created the woman to be a helpmeet, right? Let's go, help meet. Let's see if it comes up. What? Let's type in aid, like. Here we go. Tobit chapter 8, verse 6, it says, Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for a helper and stay. All right. Of them came mankind, and thou hast said, It is not good that man shall be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself. And that's what a woman was created for. All right. Plain and simple. It's not misogynist. It's not sexist. It's the facts that the Lord created the woman to be an aid unto the man like unto himself. And that's why in the book of Sirach, it said that blessed is the man who dwells with a wife of understanding, right? A wife that has a mind like unto him. But in Babylon the Great, under the beguilements of Esau Edom, he pushed out this philosophy that a woman is not to be an aid, is not to be a helper, but she can be her own individual person with her own aspirations and her own desires and her own goals and her own career, all these things. But that is them fighting really against nature. And one thing about fighting against nature is you will always lose. And that's why Esau ultimately is going to be the biggest loser, because his whole mind, his whole setup, his whole thinking is unnatural. It's against nature. Okay? And that's why he is going to ultimately be taken out of the way and taken off of the earth. But let's read it. It says, A woman said that she felt, quote, betrayed by feminism after deciding she wanted to settle down, have a family and a husband as she approached 39th as she approached 39th birthday. All right, and Kevin Samuel would have called that age. I mean, he actually would call her age. She's past the danger zone, right? The danger zone is between, I think he said, between 28 and like 30, 34 or 33, if I'm not mistaken. And it says, at one point during the interview with Fox News Digital, she broke down crying, describing how she feared she would end up alone and childless. Why? Because all throughout recorded history, it has been a honorable thing, a privilege for a woman to bear children. All right, and especially for her to bear a man child. Okay, and only in this generation, in Babylon the Great, has has becoming a mother been a actual curse. Has becoming a mother has been something to be negatively looked upon. And that's because what this devil, the ruler of this earth, of this world, all right, Job 9:24, he has caused the ways of the ways of life, he has made it into death. He has made the world a wilderness, as the scripture says in Isaiah the 14th chapter. So to the point where people don't want to reproduce. And I always say that you got to be a complete devil to rule the earth and destroy it so much that humans think it's a negative thing to reproduce. And you think of the word reproduce, right? It's to produce again, right? Mean to make again. When you have seed, when you have children, you are in essence, for the man, you are in essence making yourself again. Actually, let's get that in the book of what is that in Sirach? Let's see, 30. It was either 30. Yep. Sirach 30 verse 4. It says, "Though his father die, he is as." Let me start at 3. It says, "He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy." Right, and that's what ultimately we are doing in in this day and age, right? Which is why Esau is coming down with great wrath, which is why he is going to persecute the remnant of the woman. See, the woman is Israel, the remnant of her seed, which that's spoken about in Revelation, but that actually started all the way back in Genesis, where the Lord told um, the serpent that he will put an enmity between his seed and the woman's seed, right? Which the woman's seed is the seed that she was bearing, which is what the seed of Adam, which is Israel. It says, "He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead. For he have left one behind him that is like himself." And that's what you do when you have children, right? It's not just about just popping a woman and nutting in her and getting her pregnant and then leaving your child. That's a curse, right? Pursuant to Deuteronomy 20th chapter, where it says that the man shall leave his children. Okay, because what you're in essence is doing, you're leaving a replicated, version of yourself out in this world with no guidance, no type of moral code, right? No type of order, no type of structure, no type of wisdom. And then, and that's what, in Esau, the Lord had the curses come upon us in various different captivities, but this captivity, Esau perfected the curses, right? The Lord had Esau perfect the curses upon us. And he did it through his various different institutions, his various different deceptive means. And one of those deceptive means was the quote unquote liberation, woman liberation, feminist ideology, right? So it said, Melissa Persling recently wrote an essay for Business Insider entitled, "I'm 38 and single, and I recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified I've missed my opportunity," she said after it went viral in November. Hate began to pour in from men telling her that she's lived a selfish life. Persling has a much different account of her story. All right, because ultimately they men ultimately want to desire to have a family, to settle, have a wife, have a house, have children, and those things. But the fact is that in this society, women are so far removed from being a actual wife that men would rather be alone or do what a lot of men are doing, going across seas, going to the east, right? Passport bros, going to the east where the westernized concepts are not as prevalent in those countries, okay? And try to get a wife from amongst those nations. Okay? Reading on, it says, when Persling was 22, she married a traditional man and moved to a rural community in, I'm not even trying to pronounce that, Idaho, where she grew up. He wanted a simple life with children and home cooked meals. Hey, that's like I said before. For the most part, from a man's mindset, that is really all a man really desires. Okay, a good wife and some children and a home cooked hot meal. However, Persling, despite coming from a religious Christian background, made it clear to her husband to be that she did not want children. At that time, I felt very strongly I did not want children, that I wasn't going to be like the traditional housewife. I knew I did not want to pursue it. I knew I did want to pursue a career, she told Fox News Digital in an interview. And I felt very strongly that that would never change. And I guess I was wrong. Right, because that's unnatural. That's not a natural way of thinking. Okay. And what did the scripture say was going to happen in these latter days? That what? That corruption was going to cease. That is a corruptible mindset. And who corrupted it? Destroy him which destroyeth the earth. I always say it. When you go into that word destroy, it says what? Of the minds and of the morals and ethics, the concepts, the ideologies, the wine, as the scripture calls it, the wine of her fornication that Esau has put on the minds of the people is corruptible. It may appeal to the eyes, right? It may taste good. As Eve saw, it was good for food, but ultimately, it's a fruit of death. All right. It may taste good, but it's death. So let me get that in damn, I just lost my train of thought. What was I gonna get? Salakia. Lord willing, if it comes back to me, I'll get it. But let me go back here. It says, I knew I wanted to pursue a career, and I felt very strongly that that would never change, and I guess I was wrong. Right. Okay. Because once again, the way that she was thinking wasn't a natural way to think. All right. It was an unnatural, it was an unnatural thought process that she was beguiled into thinking. I just thought of another scripture. I just pull that up real quick. The book of Second Corinthians. I always get these two mixed up. Yep, Second Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, it says, but I fear, least by any means, as the serpent. Okay, who was the serpent? Esau, Edom, that old serpent, the devil, which also Satan, the adversary. What is he adverse to? Right? He's adverse to the ways of the Most High. The ways of the Most High is nature. Okay, is what nature is. The Lord created nature. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, is the God that created the heavens and the earth. All right. It says, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach. That the Wadi Shai just got the scripture back because the word corrupted. Right? Hey, that's how the Lord works. He wanted that scripture to come out first and then tie it to this one. All right. So when you go into, let me go into this word subtlety. All right. Let's see what that word is. Let's first go into the word beguiled, which is to deceive, right? And then subtlety, it says craftiness, cunning, all right? A spacious or false wisdom, okay? A false wisdom. Why do you think they call themselves light bearers? Okay? Lucifer, Hayallah, right? Light bearer, but his light is a false light. Okay? It's a false wisdom. It may look like wisdom. It may taste like it only appeals to the flesh. But that's why the Lord has called us to be spiritually minded, not to walk after the flesh, not to walk after we walk by faith, not by sight. All right, because the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So Esau has the ability to give off false wisdom, lying wonders, trickery, cunningness. But when we go here to the book of Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 27, it says, for evil shall be put out and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And how is corruption being overcome? By this word being spoken. All right. As it is written in Second Corinthians, the 10th chapter. Our weapons of warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the pulling down of strongholds. Those strongholds that we are pulling down are the strongholds that are on the minds of the people that have been corrupted with the ways of the false wisdom of the serpent, of the devil, of Esau, Edom, and his way of thinking. So it says, as for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared. Okay, and the truth is being declared, and this is why you're having these type of articles and things coming out, because they're along with the truth being declared, also the fruit of Esau's living the way that Esau has made or deceived people to live by. The fruit of that is what? Depression. The fruit of it is anxiety. It's suicide. It's suicide, right? Suicide is up in women, especially, and like I said in the previous video with the concerning women, especially amongst Israelite women. Okay, they say women of color, but we know who they're speaking about. So reading on, it says, person said both her and her ex thought that love could conquer everything, but after 10 years, it was clear their differences in life goals was irreconcilable. Personally said that she became resentful when he would ask for her when he would ask for dinner or for his laundry to be done. You see? Resentful for when he asked for her to do the things that she ultimately was, put on the earth to do. Okay, let me get this in I believe that's First Corinthians 7. No, nope, nope. Yeah, it's always these four. I always get confused. All right, let me hold that here. Um, let me just read it. It says First Corinthians 11 verse 2. It says, "Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you." Okay, the ordinances, the order. "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach." All right, the Israelite man. "And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh." That is the order. All right. Point blank period. Let's jump down. Let's go to verse 8. It says, verse 7 says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image of the glory of God, right? It says, a man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping, for man is made in God's image and reflects God's glory, but the woman is the glory of the man. That's how it was. That's how the Lord created it. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Let's read that in the NLT. For the first man didn't come from woman, but the first woman came from man. For man was not made for woman, but woman was made for man. Point blank period. Okay? And that's facts, right? That's gospel. And once again, it's not to be misogynist or sexist. That is the order. That's the right way to do things. Remember, Paul was taught by Yahweh, right? The Son of God, right? The word of Yahweh. That's what Yahweh is the word made flesh. Yahweh said this about the things that he declared. So that's why when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, he always said what? Verily, verily, I say unto you. Verily means truly, right? Yahweh Shai couldn't say a lie. He couldn't say anything that wasn't true. So the things that Paul was speaking, it was something that was that he received of Yahweh Shai. And not only that, but it also is in the law. Okay? It's in the law how the dynamic between a man and a woman, is to be. But this is Isaiah 45 verse 19. "I have not spoken in secret and in a dark place in the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahweh, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right." Point blank period. He declares things that are right. So when you try to follow after the ways of this world, which the scriptures tells you that if you are friends of this world and you're an enemy with the Most High, it also says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in this world. For they that love this world, the love of the Father is not in them." All right. And that's just, once again, that's just true. It's just facts. So people who have a mindset that is aligned with this world, people that have a mindset of, okay, the ideologies and the philosophies of this world, especially in westernized culture, you are aligning yourself with Satan. All right, because Esau Edom, as it is written in Second Thessalonian, his coming, his energy, or his coming is after the word working energy is of Satan. So you can't say you love the Yahweh and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you love the Lord, you love the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and also love the ways of this world. You can't serve both masters. All right, and I say that because what she's writing about, the way that she thought was a thought that came from this world. It didn't come from the Bible, right? So let's read on. It says, I did little to hide my disdain for our small life, my small town life. He was a good, hardworking man, but I don't think I made him feel that way, she said. At 30, pursuing in her ex divorce, she swore off the idea of marriage. I told my friends and my family I'd never get married again. I needed independence, a fulfilling career, a space to chart my own course. I didn't think marriage fit into that vision. I was content to look toward a future without a husband, children, or the trappings of a traditional life, she wrote. Trappings. Through, completely through. But let's see how it ended. Right? The latter end. As she grew older, however, the fun, carefree lifestyle, being wine and dine, going to parties, began to get old. The pursuit of comfort and self became dull, she said. Oh, hold on. She that liveth in what? Right? Because that's what that was. The whole fun, carefree, you careless daughters. Now, she appears to be an Edomite, but once again, the mindset of our women is not an Israelite mindset. That's an Edomite mindset. So when you see these Edomite women doing these things, understand that Salaki, when I say when you see these Israelite women acting in the way they're acting, understand that they were and seduced by who? The wicked. As the scripture says, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduceth him. Wicked seduceth. Right? Proverbs 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth him. And that literally started with Eve. That's why it tells you in the book of Sirach, from woman became the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Because the ways of the wicked seduceth our women. And then now you got it to the point where our men are living that type of ways of the wicked as well. So this is First Timothy 5, verse 6. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. All right? Dead while she liveth. So it says, when she turned 38, terror began to take over. I was panic stricken. I really thought I was going to be alone forever. It really scared me. I almost wrote the article as a sort of a warning to other women. I don't want people to miss out on the important things in life because they are enjoying pleasure themselves, because I don't think that that's ever going to really make you happy. Why? Because it's unnatural. It's not the ways of how the Lord created women to be. All right. Point blank, period. She wrote in the article how she felt urgency to find a stable relationship and was rethinking about wanting marriage and children. I hardly recognized myself, she wrote in the article. I also began to feel selfish for spending so much time focused solely on myself. My very existence started to feel shallow and hollow. Whew. And this isn't just something that she's going through. This is a phenomenon that is, happening all throughout the world. All right, women are getting to the age, and that's the whole millennial, right? The whole millennial generation. They're getting in their mid to late 30s, and they're realizing how they've been duped, how she says, betrayed by this ideology that really is self-destructive. Okay, it says, in retrospect, personally believe she had some self-discovery and hard work and for herself to do, and it took time to sort through previous trauma. Her parents' divorce, which she described as coming home for blah 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 blah. And then she talks about how she met some guy, and that was the epiphany. Let me see. Let's see more. I don't want to, because it's pretty lengthy. Let's read this part here. It says, you think you're happy when you're doing all these things when you're single, right? And women ain't supposed to be single. You're supposed to be, and when I say single, I'm speaking about women of marriageable age, right? That's why Paul said, I would that the younger women marry? Because when you're left to your own devices, as a woman, especially in the quote unquote land of the free, what is going to happen? You're going to just become a harlot. You're going to become very promiscuous. Okay, and then ultimately you ended up losing your value, because whether you want to accept it or not, believe it or not, a woman's value is tied to her purity. That's just what that's just nature. That's the natural effects of things. What Esau is trying to do is trying to change that, but you can't change that. All right, you can't change what the Lord has as a natural attraction. Now you got these people that have been so drunk, right? You're so drunk, you stop seeing clearly, but the truth is coming out, and things in this world is waxing worse and worse, and people are now entering into the sober reality of things, right? The sobriety of realizing how much this world is just going to shit. As Paul said, the fashions of this world are fading away. Right? Let's get that real quick. 2 Corinthians 7. Salakia. It's 1 Corinthians 7. Verse 31. It says, "And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away." And this whole feminist and women, independency, that was a fashion of this world. And that was only about 40 years ago, 40, 45 years ago, that, no, 50 years ago, let's say 50, that whole movement, was catapulted and was pushed heavy. But look, 50 years later, one generation of women later, right? Now the product of those type, because the women that was pushing that, they had children, and then they pushed that mindset on their children, and their children are what, 38, 39, 40, et cetera, et cetera. And they're the ones, between the 30s and 40s, I should say, and they're the ones that saying that, nah, this shit is whack. I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't want this world. Okay? So it says, um it says so let me start here. It says, into my future, I'm not going to be traveling, right? Because the scripture says, you give not give not her liberty to gad abroad. I'm not going to have a lot of extra money. I'm not going to be going out for a fancy dinners, and I'm okay with that, she said. I'm ready for that. I think that's what's really going to make me happy. Like, I'm so done just making myself happy. You think you're happy when you're doing all these things when you're single to make yourself happy. I don't really think you are. It's the relationships that make you happy. It's building something with another person. It's creating a life with another person, having goals and plans with another person. Going back to what the scripture says, your desire is going to be towards your husband, right? That the Lord created the woman as a helper and a stay for the man. That's the correct and natural order of it. That's how the Lord declared it, and He declared things that are right. It's making other people happy, making people you love happy. That's happiness. Why? Because women are naturally nurturers. They get um they get a joy out of helping. That's why the majority of women, they're in hospitality types of services, right? Or careers, things that are to help other people, right? Nursing, you know, childcare, education, et cetera, et cetera. Majority of those industries are dominated by women. It says, I really don't think I will know true happiness until I'm in that place. Um, all right, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna play what she says. It's only a minute long, and she'll sum it all up here. I don't want to turn it.
I don't consider myself a feminist at all, but that it did get me thinking, and I did write an article that I think will come out soon about about the downfall of living a selfish, me focused life, you know? And it does, I mean, for me, it's definitely started to feel hollow and meaningless. And, you know, it's taken me to this point in my life to realize that that's not a life that's going to bring you happiness. I mean, and maybe it does for some people. I honestly have a hard time believing that. If I
You
thought
hear
I
that?
would spend the rest of my life alone, if I didn't think that I would get married and have children, I would be devastated. So I don't know. It is such a me focused culture right now. I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but like I can do all the same things. Like I really I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking.
There you go. There you go. But the good news is that we're at the end of Esau's age. All right, and this is why it's going to take a rod of iron. Right, it's going to take a vigorous and severe rulership to clean up the the minds really that people have been deceived in. As it says in Revelation, the 20th chapter, that Satan was loose out of his prison for a little season and went about to deceive the world. Okay? That small, that serpent turned into a big dragon that has completely just uh, uh, destroyed the minds of people to where they think that this type of thinking is actually right. But that's why the scripture says that woe unto you that declare who declare good evil and evil good. You see, but the silver lining, like I said, is that we're at the end, and when all hell breaks loose, a lot of women are going to snap right back out of this type of mindset because guess what? There will be no more of the physical deception that they have been has been perpetuated to them. There will be no more it's pleasurable for the eyes, right? That fruit, all right, that mindset, the ideology that the serpent beguiled Eve with. You're no longer going to be able to eat of that tree because it's going to be gone. There's not going to be any fruit on that tree. And then when all hell breaks loose, when you don't have any type of protection, when you don't have any type of ability, when you really truly got to be independent, that's when these women, for Isaiah 4:7, 4:1, is going to come into play. That's when their taunt, right, their reproach is going to be so burdensome that they're not going to want to be independent. They're not going to want to be by themselves. They're not going to want to have a career, right? All they're going to want is to be called by a man's name, a righteous man of the Lord, one that can get them out of danger, right? One that can save their lives. Okay, so, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying and exhorting into the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Till next time, Shalom.